Hi. Thank you for streaming one of our latest messages here at Mountain Lake Church. We hope you enjoyed the message. Please come back again very, very soon. We know that life change stories happen. They happen every day. And at Mountain Lake Church, we want to hear about your life change story. If you'd like to share your story, please visit us at mountainlake.tv and click on the story button. You can also find service locations as well as times. And if you can't come to see us in person, please know that we stream our services every Sunday at 9, 10:30, and noon. We look forward to seeing you this weekend.
If you were here last Sunday, I said that there are some exciting things happening in our church that I wasn't at liberty to tell until they gave me the liberty this week. And so I want to tell you, first of all, a little history. If you've just started coming recently, I believe it was last April, we began live streaming our services. And if you went to mlclive.com, you could go there and live stream all the services. And the heart behind that was there are three groups of people God had placed on my mind for that. The first were for people that have friends or loved ones that are serving overseas in our armed forces. They're serving our country, they want to go to church together, and so it was an opportunity for them to do that. The second group of people were families that had special needs, kids that maybe couldn't get out of the house that day but still wanted to go to church, that they could log on and go to church and experience church together. And then the third one are for elderly people that cannot get out of their house, but again, want to go to church, and so they could log on and go to church with us. And so we launched that, and God began to do some really incredible things. Then about 6 months ago, we began talking with a company called the Church TV App Company. Church TV App Company. It was started by a buddy of mine in San Antonio, and he goes, "Hey, want you guys to be one of the first ones? I'll give you a sweetheart of a deal." He goes, "Let me build some church apps for Mountain Lake Church." You go, "What is a church app?" A church app is an app that it lives on devices like an Apple TV, an Amazon Fire Stick, or a Roku stick. And so what happens if you have any of these devices, you plug them into your television, and then you go to the Apple store and you search Mountain Lake Church, and there's our app there, or the Roku store, the Amazon store. And so over the past several months, they've been releasing these. And so the first one was Apple, and then the second one was the Amazon Fire, and then just this week, they released the Roku. And so if you go there, you can put it to your television, you can live stream there. Watch old messages, different videos that we've created. And you can do that without having to just go to your computer screen or maybe stream it from your phone to your TV. And it's a really great native app to be able to stream. And then a couple of months ago, there was a new group of people that, gosh, we could reach with the gospel for Jesus. And so it's begun about a 2-month-long conversation. And Jacob Longoria, who runs our creative department, has been leading this conversation, and man, I've been excited about this for months. But starting today, and I'm going to welcome a group of people that are watching, and I hope you do as well. But it's a group of people that, unless we had these, they could not be a part of what you get to experience. And so I'm proud to announce that today I get to welcome all of the inmates at Forsyth County Jail. Would you welcome with me? And if you're there watching, you need to know you've got a church family here in Forsyth County called Mountain Lake Church. We love you guys, praying for you guys, and are thrilled to death that you are streaming this message. And so we gave them some Amazon Fire Sticks and set it up for them. And so if you've got connections with other jails or prisons in and around the state or the country, let us know. We'll be happy to donate the Amazon Fire Sticks, and they get to stream church service. Now, this is a man that is behind the scenes, but that really put all this together, and he doesn't like this. But would you all look at the man in the red shirt there? That's Jacob Longoria. Put your hands together for the man putting everything together there. Fired up about that. So, let me tell you my goal for our time today. Here is my goal, that at the end of the message, I will consider it a win if I can get you to not sprint to your car after the service is over. And you're going, how does he know? I know, okay? I just know. And I understand that when I pray at the end, You're lacing up your sneakers. You're telling your wife, get everything in your purse. And as soon as I say amen, that sounds like a starter's pistol at a track meet. I mean, you're bolting out there, you're hurtling over the offering boxes. Wife, get the kids, I'll get the minivan. You pull it up and it's like a bank heist. Get in, get in, get in. You peel out. I get that. I understand. And I've grown up in church, got 4 kids, and I understand that. And so I'm just hoping today that maybe you would not rush to your cars. Today is what we call our group launch Sunday, and there are leaders and pastors out in the lobby that want to get you connected somehow, some way into some type of group, some type of relationship, honestly, that's way better than this. Because if this is all you experience at church for about an hour on a Sunday, that's fantastic. But if that's it, man, you're really missing out on some really great things in your faith walk. And we're in the middle of a series called reSOLVE. And my guess is in 2016, some of you need to resolve to find more depth of community or better community of friends. And then for many of you, you're on the flip side of the coin, and maybe you need to resolve just to be a better friend to the community that you're in. See, the problem is, especially in the society that we live in, the word friend has gotten very diluted. We just use it forever, and you can have 1,000 Facebook friends and be the loneliest person in the world. And what happens is we often consider large crowds our close friends. Since we're surrounded by people, we think, well, we're surrounded by people on Facebook or at work or in the classroom or on our teams or even here at church. You can be surrounded by all of these people but not have truly close friends. And so we're going to talk about this idea of what it really means to have true friends, close friends, authentic friends, not just be surrounded by a crowd. Now, I'm fully aware that in this room there are 2 types of people. There are extroverts and there are introverts. And if you're an extrovert, you're sitting on the edge of your seat and you are fired up. You're going, I've been waiting for this message and this is going to be fantastic. And you're so excited, you cannot wait. And then if you're an introvert, your arms are like this. The stomach acid is churning. Your jaws are clenched. You're going, I cannot believe this is the Sunday I decided to show up. I get it. And I can empathize with you because I'm an introvert married to an extrovert. And then I remember years ago when we were newlyweds, I was still in the construction world. We were going to church in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We went to church and I was like, we go to church. That's good. And she goes, no, Chris, I want to do something. I goes, what do you want to do, babe? She goes, I want to join a small group. And I was like, why? Like, why? What's the purpose? She goes, well, to meet people. I was like, we know people. And she goes, no, we need to meet people. And I was like, well, what are we going to do in these groups? We're going to talk. What are we going to talk about? Whatever, Chris, we just need to talk. And so I, being the good submissive husband that I was and still am, was like, yeah, let's sign up for it. And so we signed up for it. And that church, they put like 4 to 5 random couples in a group. None of us had kids. And I'll be very honest with you, it was awkward. Like that first 3 to 4 weeks, it was just one of those, hey, one of those deals. But after week 4, week 5, week 6, week 8, all of a sudden, they become some of our dearest and closest friends. And since then, we've all moved to different parts of the country, but we still keep in touch, either Facebook, Christmas cards. They're still close friends that we spent that season with. And so this whole idea of reSOLVE, it's to resolve not just to be surrounded by crowds of people, which is very easy for all of us to do, but to really pursue true friendships, authentic friendships, a depth of community maybe that you haven't experienced before or that you haven't experienced in a while. King Solomon, the wisest king who ever lived, wrote in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, he said, as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another friend. As iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another friend. So this idea of friendship is not being surrounded by crowds, but being surrounded by people that make you better, that make you a better husband, a better wife, a better son or a daughter, a better student, a better employee, a better boss, a better citizen. It's those friends that are willing to encourage you, they're willing to inspire you, those friends that are there through the good times and through the not so good times. King Solomon wrote another book in the Old Testament called Ecclesiastes, and it was essentially his memoirs at the end of his life as he begins to write about things that he had experienced, things that he had observed. And in one little passage of this book, he writes about the difference between friends, true friends, authentic friends, and the difference between crowds. And as a king, he would have experienced both extremes. And it's a reminder of what crowds do and ultimately what great friends do. If you got a Bible, go ahead and grab it. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry, it'll be up on the screens. But Ecclesiastes chapter 4, we're going to start in verse 7, and here's what King Solomon writes. He says, I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who was all alone, without a child or a brother, yet who works hard to gain as much wealth as he can, but then he asks himself, who am I working for, and why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is all so meaningless and depressing. So what he's talking about is isolation versus friendship or community. And here's what I understand, and you know this as well, is that isolation is easy in the short run, but it's costly in the long run. Isolation is easy in the short. It's easier to do things by yourself. It's easier to live life by yourself. You can move quicker, make changes. It's way easier, less risky in the short run, but it's costly in the long run. So he talks about this man that comes to the end of his life with really no friends, no companions, no truly genuine friendships, and the man is lonely. And then he talks about the value of friendships. Look at verse 9. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And so he's writing on this value of what a true friend really does, how a true friend really acts. And as king, he would be surrounded by crowds, but then he would have a close group of friends or a close community. And he goes, this is the value of friendship. And then he compares it and contrasts it to the crowds in the next verse, verse 13. He says, it is better to be a poor but wise youth than an old and foolish king who refuses all advice. Such a youth could rise from poverty and succeed. He might even become king though he had been in prison. But then everyone rushes to the side of yet another youth who replaces him. Endless crowds stand around him, but then another generation grows up and rejects him too. So it is all meaningless, like chasing the wind. And Solomon writes and understands the difference between true friends and then crowds. Then he goes, crowds rise up and they rush to one king and they rush to another king, and crowds love to applaud the person. And what he's writing, and as a king and as a person, he goes, listen, don't play to the applause of the crowd and miss the helping hand of a friend. Don't play to the applause, the accolades, the attaboys, the pat on the back, the corner office, the you can do no wrongs to the crowd and miss the helping hand of a friend, the true community, the authenticness of a great friendship. He goes, I've seen it. He goes, I've seen kings come and go and crowds come and applaud and go, man, you're fantastic. And they rush to him. And then all of a sudden somebody else comes along and that crowd rushes from that king to the next. And if you're in life, whether you're a student or you're at work, and if all of a sudden, if everyone is rushing to you, you might stop and ask yourself, why? If you look around, all of a sudden, neighbors are coming out of the woodwork, or family you haven't seen in years are coming out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, you're the most popular kid at school, and everyone is rushing to you. The crowd is rushing to you. You might stop and ask yourself, why? Because the crowd rushes to what gives the crowd opportunities and benefits in life. The crowd will rush to the person when they think that person can help them or make their life better. And as soon as that person doesn't deliver, the crowd's off. And what Solomon is saying is going, don't play to the applause of the crowd. Don't play to the applause of the attaboys, the corner office, and it's intoxicating, but it's fleeting. He goes, and don't miss the helping hand of a friend and what a true friend really looks like. And he gives really 3 big ideas of what a true friend does. Well, let's go back and let's look at these, starting in verse 10. Verse 10 says, if one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. The first idea he outlines about friends is that true friends, they help you when you fall down. True friends help you when you fall down. They're the hand that extends out and says, let me help you up. And it's a non-judgmental hand. It's a non-condemning hand. It's a hand simply to help. That when you start a business and it fails, when you get dumped by your boyfriend or girlfriend, when they divorce you after 20 years, when you apply to a college and they reject you, when you fall flat on your face and the crowd runs away, a true friend is there with a hand out. And it's not a judgmental hand. It's not a condemning hand. It's not a, what did you learn here in life? It's not a blaming hand. It's a hand simply to say, I'm a friend and I'm here to help. And you've experienced this. If ever you play to the applause of the crowd and everyone's slapping you on the back and you can do no wrong and things are great, and all of a sudden you trip and you stumble in life, that crowd will vanish. And all that's left is maybe 1 or 2 true, authentic friends with a hand out, not judging, not condemning, not criticizing, but simply there to help. Over Christmas, my parents came in to visit, and they wanted to take the older 3 kids, Daniel, David, and Kara, to go do something. And Micah was taking a nap, so Brianna stayed home, and it was me, my parents, and my older 3 kids, and we took them to Get Air Trampoline Park. Trampoline park down in Johns Creek, and they'd been there before and they loved it. They're like, oh, we want to take the kids there. So I was like, oh, great. So we go and we pay, and if you've ever been there, you kind of walk up this ramp, and all of a sudden we're at the top, and all 3 kids just disperse. I mean, they just bolt out. They just kind of go everywhere, and it was great. They were jumping around, and about 5 minutes or so we're there, and I'm like, I better check and make sure everyone's good. If Brianna's not here, I would hate to, take 3 kids, only come back with 2 type of deal. And so I was like, all right, we ought to kind of do that. And so I see Daniel, he's over there playing dodgeball with some kids. Okay, great. And there's David over there jumping, and I'm looking for Kara. Oh, where's Kara? Where's Kara? And all of a sudden, can't find it. And you can't find your kid for like 10 seconds, you're fine. And then like 30 seconds, and then like a minute feels like an hour. And then all of a sudden, you're starting to panic a little bit. And, did I lose my kid? What's Brianna going to say? That's really bad type of stuff. And all of a sudden, we're walking around, and there's this foam pit in the corner where nobody is. And I look over, and I see 2 little legs kicking. Just kicking up there, and I hear this, help, Dad, help. Just 2 little legs kicking. And the more she kicked, like the farther she went down the foam pit. And so I go over, and her 2 little legs are kicking, and I look down at her, and I go, did you learn your lesson? I'm just kidding, I didn't say that. God, you thought I did too. I'm not a jerk dad. Man, I look down at her, and I just go down there, boom, grab her, pick her up like that out of the foam pit and set her down there. And she's crying and going, trying to get her bearings. And I look at her and go, are you okay? Yeah. And I hug her a little bit. And she bolts off to the next area to play. And that's what a true friend does. When you're there and your feet are kicking straight up, they don't look down and go, it's your fault. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have started that business. You shouldn't have married him. Everyone told you not to marry him. This is what happened. No, a true friend just is there and helps you up. No questions asked. The crowd, they'll applaud you to your death. And as soon as you kind of fade off into the sunset, they'll go find somebody else. But a true friend, they help. Not judging, not condemning, not asking questions, but simply a friend to help. And sometimes a helping hand simply sounds like an encouraging word. Sometimes a helping hand sounds like an encouraging word. It's not critiquing, it's just saying, you've got this, you'll make it through this, you'll come out the other side a better person, and I'm here to be that shoulder to cry on. Solomon says, I've seen both sides, the crowds and And the true friends, the crowds, they'll walk away the instant you don't provide them what they want. But a true friend, they're there with a hand out to help. Let's go down to verse 11. Here's the second idea. He says this. He says, likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm, but how can one be warm alone? Second idea he outlines this is that true friends comfort you when you're alone. True friends bring you comfort when you're all alone. They're the shoulder to cry on. They're the listening ear for you to unload. When everybody else has walked away, that friend shows up. That friend is there to comfort when nobody else is. That friend is there long after the funeral service is over. As a pastor, I've done more funerals than I can count. And you're there at a funeral, and there's 100, maybe 200 people. It's packed out, and everybody's, giving their condolences and hugging and that kind of stuff. And then the funeral's over, and then a day passes, and then a week passes, and everybody goes back to their work or their school or their lives. But a true friend is there in the weeks and months and years to come. And a true friend is that person that calls you on the day that your loved one passed away and just says, I know today is the day. And I'm praying for you, and I just want to let you know you've got a friend who's here to do whatever you need to be done. That's what a true friend is. The crowds, they show up, and as long as you're providing them what they want, everything's great. But the instant you trip and fall, the instant all of a sudden you're all alone, and the world is collapsing down on you, they're gone. But a true friend is there and to comfort you no matter what. And a true friend doesn't accept the answer, fine. True friends don't accept the answer, fine. Crowd does. How's life? Fine. Great. We'll see you next week. A true friend, how's life? Fine. No, really. It's fine. No. How is it? Man, my world's falling apart. I feel like everything is collapsing around, and a true friend will be there and going, let me help you through this. Let me be the shoulder to cry on, the listening ear. You unload all you want to, and I'm just going to be here to listen. The value of friendship, the value of true community that Solomon lines out going, listen, I've seen the crowds, and I've seen the friends, and a friend is there to comfort you when no one else is. And he finishes up. Look at verse 12. He says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three or even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. The last thing is that true friends protect you when you need it the most. True friends protect you when you need it the most. And I read that verse I was talking to Brianna yesterday. The image that he uses, he would understand it. A true friend will stand back to back and you'll fight, and conquer and nobody's gonna, stab you in the back. But I told Brianna, I just don't find myself getting in many fist fights at work. Maybe you do. Maybe you roll into the cubicle and go, who's today? All right, maybe that's you. I don't know what you do at work. My guess is you don't. My guess is you don't roll into the office going, man, who am I gonna fight today? It just doesn't happen. But you still need comfort, you still need protection, you still need that person who has your back, even if it means protecting you from yourself. Even if it means asking the difficult questions or the awkward questions because they care for you. And so no, maybe you're not gonna walk into work and get in a street brawl, but let me just kind of put it in a different scenario. You ever finish lunch, come back and in a meeting, and you ever had spinach or lettuce in your teeth left over from lunch? A true friend will call you out in that meeting. True friend will go, hey, you've got something in your teeth. Have you ever gone to that meeting for an hour and they're gone to the bathroom afterwards and all of a sudden you look, you got spinach in your teeth and you go to your buddy, you're going, why didn't you say anything? Well, I didn't want to embarrass you. So you thought let me have spinach in my teeth for an hour was less embarrassing. But a true friend is willing to risk the awkwardness. Why? Not for their sake, but for yours. And a true friend is willing to protect you, even if it means protecting you from yourself. It's asking the difficult questions when the crowd certainly won't. My guess is you're the same as me, is that if you're around a complete stranger talking to them and they've got spinach in their teeth, I'm not gonna tell them. Why? Well, because that's awkward and I probably will never see them again for the rest of my life. Someone else will tell them. Right? The crowd goes, listen, they'll figure it out, but a true friend goes, no, I care for you. And I'm willing to ask the difficult questions. I'm willing to say, hey, you might have a drinking problem. You might have an anger issue. You might be doing some things that you shouldn't be doing. And no, it's difficult and maybe it's embarrassing at this moment, but I care for you more than I care about not being awkward. I care for you and I'm willing to ask the difficult questions and I want to protect you, even if it means protecting you from yourself. Solomon would know that and would get that. He would say the crowds, they come along and they applaud and they go, man, that's fantastic and everything's great. But the instant you don't give the crowd what they want, they're on to somebody else. But a true friend, they lean over and say, I'm here to help. Not judging, not condemning, not asking questions. I'm here to comfort. You cry on the shoulder, you unload on me, and I'm here to protect your back from the rest of the world, and yes, even from yourself. And it may be awkward and it may be difficult, but that's what true friendship, that's what true community is. And that's why it's worth the risk. But here's the thing. Finding friends, finding community like that, someone that's willing to comfort you, someone that's willing to protect you, someone that's willing to help give you a helping hand, that takes time and that takes effort, and it does not happen in crowds. It takes time and it takes effort, and it does not happen in crowds. It happens in groups. And so what happens is we spend a lot of our lives standing next to somebody shoulder to shoulder. You're sitting here today, shoulder to shoulder. And if this is all you experience at church for about an hour a week, that's fantastic, better than nothing, but you're leaving so much on the table. You're leaving great relationships, in-depth relationships, people like this that will call you out, people like that will comfort you, people like that will help you up when you fall down, but it does not happen in large crowds. It does not happen just sitting in cubicles at work. It happens when you begin to look at somebody eye to eye. And so here's what I hope that you would at least begin to resolve in your own life today. And it's to resolve to move from shoulder to shoulder and begin to look eye to eye. Resolve to move from shoulder to shoulder and begin to look eye to eye. Shoulder to shoulder is great for crowds. And it's easy, honestly. And you can live that way and be in a crowd like this and be isolated, and it's easy in the short run, but it's costly in the long run. Or you can begin to move and go, you know what? I'm willing to risk a little bit. I'm willing to put myself out there, and I'm willing to go, you know what? I need somebody there. I don't want just the applause of the crowd, but I want the helping hand of a friend. I want the comfort of a friend. I want the protection of someone who's got my back as a friend would do. And so today, starting in 2017, I don't know what 2016 was like, but if you would begin to resolve to look at your communities and your friends, not just as crowds, but as eye to eye. Here's how this relates in church specifically. Why this weekend is group launch weekend, because honestly, we don't want just this for you to be all you experience at church. You can walk in and out and be anonymous, and I get that, but you're missing so much. You're missing great relationships and great depth of community. And so let me just demonstrate what it would be like if this is all you experience. And so Todd, I'm gonna ask Todd if you'll come on out here and help me with this illustration. There he is right there. Now here's what we wanna demonstrate and illustrate. We wanna illustrate what a Sunday would be like if all you did was sit shoulder to shoulder. All right, so we're just gonna do a little role playing here. We're gonna be them, correct? Yep. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and we'll start the scene. Oh my goodness.
Hey, is that seat taken right there?
Yeah.
Okay. How about that one right there?
Yeah. It's saved.
It's saved.
Saved. Yeah. Yep. Maybe the cafe. See, maybe way at the top. There's nobody at the top. You can sit up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's that one down there. That one can sit there.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're going to come down this row, or you're going to go around?
No, I need to go this.
Oh,
this
my
way.
goodness.
Sorry.
Seriously.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh my
Sorry.
goodness. Seriously, just.
Sorry.
Good gracious.
Is this your first time here?
No. This your first time?
Yeah. They even gave me a microphone at the door.
It's a new thing they're trying out.
So cool. It's like you could sing at any
Yeah.
time, you know,
Yeah,
any song.
it's good.
So I was looking on the internet. It's kind of like mixed reviews. How's the preaching?
Unbelievable. Best preacher, good looking, nice guy, debonair. He'll just blow your socks off. Yeah.
That's cool. How about the music? I play a little bit. So I just was.
It's hit or miss. Hit or miss. Depends. When they have a guest worship leader, it's incredible.
All right. Well, thanks.
And this is it, right? You'd sit here for about an hour, and you'll face this way, sit shoulder to shoulder, and that's about it. And what happens is you can do this for years. You can do this till Jesus comes back. Then all of a sudden, your life falls apart. Right? Your world is collapsing. And there's no relationship because it's just shoulder to shoulder and it's surface conversation. But here's what happens is when you switch eye to eye. First of all, you got to put your shoe back on. Awkward to have a small group without one shoe on. Like this.
Great socks, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Here's what eye to eye looks like. This is now all of a sudden, it's not shoulder to shoulder. Now it's eye to eye. Now I go, man, Todd, how's Janae and the girls?
They're doing good. One of the girls Lily's been a little sick, but she's feeling better. We're doing good, so doing good. How about you? You got a game yesterday. You're coaching.
We had a game.
Your kids' team.
We won. The coaching was probably elite coaching.
It's all in the coaching.
All in the coaching, But it was great. And so we had family in for Christmas. What did you guys do for Christmas?
Well, we had, it's crazy because my parents and Janae's parents, we somehow managed to survive in one roof, under one roof for the holidays. And then it's our anniversary, so we got out of town, what I'm saying? So.
How long you guys been married?
Well,
I might answer it quicker than that.
How long have you been married?
A long time.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
This is community, right? This is eye to eye. And this is where it takes time, honestly, and it takes effort. And it doesn't happen over one conversation. It doesn't happen over two conversations. It happens over time and effort. And this circle is it doesn't really matter what this circle looks like. What's important is the eye to eye conversation. So this circle, it may look like a home group, small group. And you gather around a coffee table or a dinner table and you're visiting, you're talking. It may look like a golf foursome. And you golf once a week and you begin to have conversation. It may look like a group of ladies that you go out to lunch once a week. It may be some hobby that you're involved in, that there's a community of people that circle up, not standing shoulder to shoulder, but looking eye to eye. And so what's important is this conversation, not so much the location of this circle. And so here's where the rubber really meets the road. For some of you, you don't have this circle yet. For some of you, maybe you're new to town or you've just been super busy and just kind of going through life and you need this. And there are leaders out there that we have groups just like this that, man, we'll plug you into. Here's a great group of men or women or married couples that we'll plug you into. Some of you, you would like to lead a group like this. You go, man, I've got a great coffee table, or I can make some great food. I would like to open up my home, and I would like for community to happen around my table. And so if that's you, we can help you do it that way. But here's what we're doing a little bit different. It's our job really is to make sure that you're finding some type of spiritual community, however this looks like. So if this does look like a small group in a home, fantastic. But you may already have a group of guys that you go golfing with every week. And you're going, hey, I would like to take that relationship a little bit deeper. And do you have maybe one or two questions that I could ask to maybe talk about their faith? Or maybe you've got a group of ladies that you go out to lunch with every week or every other week, and you're going, you know what? I'd like to pray for them, but I'm kind of nervous to pray out loud. Can you help me walk through that? And so it's our job as a church team and staff to go, we want to help you with that. We don't really care where this looks like. What we care about is this. What we care about is that you're willing to risk some of the messiness, some of the awkwardness, because this is way stronger and way better than shoulder to shoulder. The person that demonstrated this better than anybody, Jesus. You think about it, God on earth didn't need anybody. Could have lived in isolation, did what he was called to do, and gone back to heaven. But he pursued relationships, friendships, had the 12 disciples, but then the inner circle was Peter, James, and John. James and John were brothers. Peter was the one that walked on water. Those were his three closest friends. And of those three friends, Peter denied him, and the other two argued over who could sit next to Jesus in heaven. And the other two went and had their mom ask Jesus if her boys could sit in heaven next to him. And so you have one that denied him not once, twice, but three times, and the other two just had petty arguments, but Jesus knew the value and the importance of community, not isolation, and was willing to risk it, and was willing to pursue it, even though on the night of his crucifixion, he looks Simon Peter in the eyes, and Simon Peter denies him 3 different times. But Jesus knew that community was worth it. And so yes, shoulder to shoulder, maybe way easier, but eye to eye, this is where relationships happen. And so when Todd's struggling, when Chris is struggling, when Todd's having a great day, when I'm having a great day, friends are there to experience it and to share it. Crowds will applaud you all the way until you don't give them anything else that they need. But friends, they're there through the good times and through the not so good times. And so my hope is that in just a second when I pray, that you don't rush to your cars, but you go out there and say, you know what? I need to find community. I've surrounded myself with a lot of people, but I'm living in isolation. I have this, but I'd like to take this to a deeper level spiritually. I'd like to ask questions. I'd like to pray for them, and I need some help walking through that. Or maybe, man, I'd like to open up my home once a week, every other week. Or maybe you travel. And this honestly could look like a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group. And you log on and you post. Again, how this looks doesn't matter. What matters is that you're looking somebody eye to eye and saying, how can I help? How can I help you up? How can I comfort you? And how can I protect your back no matter what? Let me pray for us. Jesus, I thank you for modeling community and friendships and relationships at the highest level. And Lord, I know that for many people in this room, this is fantastic and they're fired up. For other people, they're nervous, they're scared, they've been hurt by people before. But Lord, my prayer is that for all of us, we'd be willing to risk a little bit of the messiness, a little bit of the awkwardness to find great community, great relationships, great friendships. Not live our life shoulder to shoulder, sitting in a crowd, but living life eye to eye. Over a cup of coffee, on a golf course, whatever hobby at a little league field, but we'd begin to find true friends, not crowds, but friends that comfort us, that protect us, and that give us a helping hand. Jesus, we love you. Thank you for being here today. We ask all these things in your precious and holy name. Amen.